And as soon as he came near the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, Moses' anger burned hot, and he threw the tablets out of his hands and broke them at the foot of the mountain.
Break it. This passage of scripture is a long, if you read the whole chapter, you get the whole episode of what happened. Moses was up there writing the 10 Commandments. God giving them the 10 Commandments, and God was giving him instruction. So he left the people, they just came out of Egypt, and God said, let me give them some laws to govern them, these 100,000, almost a million people he had to lead. While Moses was in the mountaintop for about 40 days, and him and God was having a conversation, before God just got finished, because God wrote the first 10 Commandments with his finger. And God said, Moses, soon he finished writing, he said, oh, Moses, go down. And Moses said, why? He said, already the people have turned away from me. They're going down there worshiping and dancing around a calf. And Moses looked at God like, come on, God. He said, go on down. So Moses went down. And Moses was like, I'm almost a half a mile away. And Moses said, what's this noise I hear? And he says, they fighting? Or they just got in a war, it's a victory. And the closer he got, he said, well, wait a minute, hold up. Him and Joshua was coming down. He said, don't sound like fighting. Wait a minute, let me get closer. Why they cheering? It don't sound like cheering. And the closer he got, he says, they singing? Why are they singing? Moses walked up in the camp, and they was dancing around a calf twerking. Moses said, what are y'all doing? Moses got so mad that he threw down the tablets of the law of the 10 Commandments. He like, I don't believe y'all doing this. And I think Moses was more embarrassed than anything because God said that and he really didn't believe it. Have you ever been in a place where you get upset when God was right? When God was right about folk that you were dealing with? I remember many days God told me, don't fool with them, don't get involved with that, don't marry that, don't vex with that. And let me say this, I remember the day when God told me how right he was and how wrong I was. And I wish I was right. But it costs, when God's right and you don't listen, it will cost you. And Moses got so upset that he broke God's commandments. Yet he broke the tablet, but they already broke the law. And what he broke is a representation of what they already broke. It was broken before, when Moses was walking down the mountain with the tablets. They were already broken. That was just an example of what happened when he got there. God wasn't shocked. Because God said, you can go on down there, handle this Moses, get him straight. And people were like, oh man, they're so wrong. But you know what? When you got 400 years of being influenced over people, you're going to do what you're familiar with. I don't blame folk that coming from the street. If the street all you know, if the country all you know, if you come from England or Africa, you're going to do what all you know. I don't knock nobody. They like, look at them, man, look at them. They disrespect, they don't know. You know what? They ain't had no daddy. They ain't had no training. They never been to nowhere. When I got out the neighborhood and I went down to the law office, I got chewed out for touching something from a lawyer because I didn't know I shouldn't mess with that. Don't touch his desk. I didn't know the protocol. I didn't know how to really dress. I had to look at them and see what they were wearing and try to mimic because I didn't have nobody who trained me. When they called me Mr. Allen, I didn't know who they were talking to because I was nicknamed around the neighborhood. I was Teddy around the neighborhood. I was Booby in the house. Nobody ever called me Mr. Allen. When they say Mr. Allen, I was looking stupid. Mr. Allen, oh me, you're talking about me? Because I never know nobody called me by my surname. And when I saw them drinking coffee, when I started drinking coffee, I thought it was the nastiest thing I ever drunk. But I drunk it because they did it. So I was trying to find out how it is because I saw life on another side. And I had to learn how to talk right. Because I never knew I was going to be preaching. Because they was like, they said, what's your name? My name's Todd. Todd? Todd. Todd? Todd. Terry? Yeah. And I had to learn how to say Terry. Pronunciation. Now I was like, man, they racist. No, talk right. That's the jungle I'm in. I had to learn. Here it is again. They got the money, over here don't. Mr. Allen can make money. Teddy can't. And all I did, in the same way I was dancing around the calf. Because that's all I knew. You can't, we preach on that and we knock that, but we don't understand they were 400 years over bad influence. And God had to retrain them. Because all around the Egyptians. That's why I told people, have some grace and patience, because it took us time to get out of the situation. It's not the fact that, oh, you don't know how it is to be back and around the way. I don't want to go back around the way. I know what the round the way was better when I was there. I see around the way, everybody looking like the Walking Dead around the way. And when I go down to my mom's house, I'm like, what happened? And when I see guys my age still chasing after the weight, still running after the man, that's what young cats. When I see people in the same position for 40 years, and guess what happened to the Egyptian? They walked around in the same plot for 40 years because they couldn't give up the calf. God couldn't take them to the next level. Because you know what? They broke it. And guess what? When you break it, the problem is God couldn't break them. That's the biggest problem. When you can't be broken and things break you and God got to break you to get, that's why I tell the younger generation, I know this next generation, they don't want to know, young cats, when you get young and young women, y'all can't tell the next generation, no. Let me say this. We have fell in a ditch. If you got somebody, I always tell a 20-year-old, when I had this 20-year-old young man, he's 20, 21, I say, look, you don't want to do that because life is hard. Oh, no, I know. I said, I'm going to ask you a question. And I told him, I said, how old do you think I am? He gave me, man, he's about 35. I said, no, I'm older than that. I said, but at the time I was like 48. I said, are you 48? He said, no. I said, guess what? I was 21. I said, I was where you were. I said, I'm trying to help you get to where I'm at. Why do you want to fall in the ditch I know you can't win? Because if I'm trying to teach you not to fall so you don't have to crawl back out. Because it takes time to crawl back out. And you ain't going to win. You ain't going to make it. And guess what? I was smarter than you. I had more resources than you. And guess what? I didn't make it out the Temple of Doom. And I'm Indiana Jones. Some things you'll never win. Gravity, if you jump out of an airplane with no parachute, you're going to die. Why would you say, I know, I'm going to jump out of the airplane? Well, go right ahead, bro. Because nobody wins that. There's certain things in life you're never going to win. And if you don't learn how to break, it will break you. Don't break God's commandments, but break those bad habits. And they couldn't break the bad habit. So if they can't break their habits, they break God's commandments. And one of the first rules that commandments God gave, and if you can read the Bible, he said, thou shalt only worship the Lord thou God and no other God, because I'm a jealous God. The first thing they did was broke the first one. And they was like having a party. And see, what we do now, we don't learn how to be broken. Sometimes you got to learn how to break. The best, smartest man and woman know how to break their own habits without nobody telling them. Recognize your weaknesses before somebody else, God has to get to you, or somebody has to tell you. The smartest person now, I can tell you right now, I can tell you what's wrong with me. I ain't gonna tell you publicly, but I can tell you what's wrong with me. And I know what's wrong with me. And so I got some things I don't like about myself. I got things I know I shouldn't do. I know some things, low self-esteem issues, anger issues, and certain things I had to deal with and fight with and struggle with, probably to the day that Jesus comes. But I had to learn that this is a problem for me, and I got to work on that. I know we know our strengths and our talents, but do you know your weakness? We used to sing a song, don't let the devil know what your weakness is. He been knew what your weakness was. You've been told him that. Not by your words, by your actions. All I got to do is, do you like this? You don't move. But do you like this? You already know what you're going. And that's all the enemy has to learn to do. But you got to learn how to don't break God's commandments. And it's not easy not to break it. But what happened, the problem was, it was folk that made him mad. Sometimes you deal with the wrong person. Those people can mess you up more than yourself. That's why I don't listen to everybody. I listen to God. I tell young people, don't be a follower, be a leader. Be a trendsetter. You know what? You know what the biggest problem people don't have with, especially our church? We don't do what the conventional church would do. And if a church is doing the same thing, if everybody in the church doing the same thing that everybody else is doing, then that's your problem in church. Where is you different from the rest of the people in the community? If everybody making the same burger, why go? If there was nothing but a bunch of Burger Kings, nobody would. What's so special about it? It has to be some kind of individuality that gives you something different. And then people will break who you are because of what they do. Moses got more upset about what they did, and he broke God's commandments. And guess what? Here's what happened. When he broke them, he had to go back up the mountain and had to get new ones. In Exodus 34 and 27, God told Moses, now you write the commandments again. Now, the difference with God did it in a minute. He went out of stone and cut it out smooth, boom, right in the pit. Then he told Moses, since you broke them, you get them. Moses had to be up there for 40 days and nights carving out, had to redo something God already did because he allowed somebody else to get to him. He caused somebody else to break him. So now it took him 40 days to do what God did in 5 seconds. And God said, no, I ain't going to do it no more because the first time I did it for you, and you didn't have enough cool. The Bible said, and Moses got hot with anger, furious. He lost his temper and boom. was one of the first time. The second time Moses got in trouble, when God told him to strike the rock once, he struck it twice. And God said, for that, you won't get into the kingdom of heaven. He said, eat you. He got mad at the people again. He struck the rock twice. That means he was hitting Jesus twice, because the rock represents Christ. Got mad, and God said, because you did that, Moses, and you got mad, Moses got more mad than God. He lost out of the promised land. Don't let folk get you messed up. You doing right. The worstest thing can happen when you doing right and you let folk in your life to mess your life up. The worstest thing, when people don't earn nothing, it's easy for them to lose it. When people don't earn a house, they'll tear your house up. When folk don't do certain things, they get things. Let me say this. I had a person who visited and they needed help. I said, come on down the basement for a couple of days. You know, I needed help. And they came down a couple of days and they tore the basement up. And I said, I know why you ain't got a house. Because the Bible says if you can't take care of what pertains to somebody else, you ain't gonna be able to take care of your own. If you can't handle nobody else's business, you can't handle your own. If you can't take care of the apartment that you was living in, you know what? You can't handle the house. If you can't make the rent, you can't make the mortgage. You are breaking yourself. And sometimes you can't let folk come in and break your mess up. When God told you to do something, don't you drop it. Don't you break it. Even though they were dancing around the calf, Moses could have kept the thing in his hand and told him, scratch the record, shut it down. No, he went up there, I don't believe y'all, boom. And then nobody else had to go back up that mountain and you know what, carve out them tablets. His hands all busted up.